Today's hidden gem is one of my favourite pieces of equipment in the entire game. The Krone Big M 450. It is a mower, it is a beast, it is so much fun to use, and it actually saves you a hell of a lot of time. At first glance, at £380,000, it seems like a bit of an expenditure, but when you take into account it's the only vehicle in the game that is a full-fledged mower with a decent sort of range of 10 meters. It is the fastest mower in the game at 25 kilometers per hour when being used, and it has a decent speed of 40 kilometers per hour when it's not. And it's just fun to use, but it's got everything in it. I was actually looking because I thought it's going to be a hard sell this. It's a hidden gem because it's something that I personally enjoy using a hell of a lot. But when looking at its comparable pieces of equipment and the amount of money you'd be spending on a tractor that could use those pieces of equipment, it's actually a bloody good deal. I'll go into more detail with those later. I will do a comparison with the other mowers that you could use that are of similar sort of width and power and stuff, but honestly, it does what it says on the tin. It looks incredible. I really like the paint scheme that they've gone for. It looks really quite cool. It is fast. It is my favorite piece of equipment on the farm. I use it a lot on Calmsden. There are a few things that I would like to change about it though, or rather have added to it, namely functionality. I live in an area where we have the council come around with ride-on mowers and stuff, and these sort of bits here do move independently, but on the game they don't. It's up or down, and in certain areas that can make it a bit tricky to get around. The rear-wheel drive, or the rear-wheel steering I should say, is also a bit of a ball ache to get used to, but once you do get used to it, it becomes so maneuverable, it becomes so agile, and it's just, again, it's fun to use. You can change the wheel brand, but the wheels are standard, so it doesn't really do anything. It's just, it changes the weight. That's really all it does. It does struggle on hills as well a little bit, but it's a mower. Like, it's powerful enough. You don't need to worry about towing anything. You just go in, mow the field, and have a good time doing it. But like I said, there are alternatives. Are they better? After looking through, the first piece of equipment that is the closest in sort of range, width, speed, etc., is going to be the Pottinger Novacat A10 CrossFlow. It requires 160 brake horsepower, and that is important because we're going to look at the tractors as well. It has a 10 meter width, which is the same, and it is a little bit slower at 22. All of the mower attachments have a limited speed of 22 kilometers per hour. Now, it is important to note that if you are going to sort of mix and match, which is the advantage of using the equipment over just the mower, you can attach a mower to the front and then like a tedder on the back. That will slow you down though, in terms of just pure speed, because the tedderers and the balers and stuff, they all have a max speed of 15 kilometers per hour. So that will lower the speed of your mowing to 15 kilometers per hour if you do them both at the same time. So it is a little bit slower on base, and then obviously you've got the versatility of mixing and matching. It doesn't look as good on a tractor, if I'm honest, and if you are just going for mowing, what you'll generally do is have this on the back and then have its counterpart, the Pottinger Novacat 301 AM ED Pro. This thing weighs a ton. It only requires 70 brake horsepower, only has a 3.1 meter width, and it has, again, the speed of 22 kilometers per hour. The idea being that you put this on the front of your tractor and then the larger one on the back. The larger one costs 75,000 exactly. This one costs 13,500. So for both pieces of equipment, you're only looking at 90,500 for the pair. That's a lot cheaper than the 380,000 for the Big M. However, you've then got to take into account that you need a tractor that can pull both of these and has a 160 brake horsepower at least. Realistically, you're going to want a little bit more than that because obviously you've got the power ratio of this and the back. It's always best to have something a bit more. So realistically, you're going to be looking at something that's got about 200 brake horse. The cheapest and easiest tractor to get that has 200 brake horsepower is the Massey Ferguson MF 6700S. This thing, with just the engine modification to get it to 200 brake horsepower, will cost you 147,000 exactly. This means that the total cost is roughly around 238,000 pounds, which is a sizable chunk less than just the Big M. And that makes you think, why would you get the Big M over this or, you know, any other tractor and mower combination? Honestly, ease. It's a lot of farce and faffing about to have to connect everything and then take it and then go and mow. You're not going to be mowing as quickly because you do lose that 3 kilometers per hour, which does make a big difference when you're doing a task. It's not as maneuverable because this is front steering as opposed to rear steering. It's clunky. It just makes the entire task seem a bit of a bore. Again, if you just go with a front attachment and then like the tetherer or, you know, a windrow in the back to make sure it's nice and done or whatever, or just straight up mower and baler, you're going to be a lot slower mowing. And the extra 100,000 plus is, generally speaking, just for ease. It is a convenience thing and it's a lot more fun to use. This is a perfectly viable option. However, just buying the mower straight up is going to be a time saver from what I've found. So here we are. We are in a field on Calmston right now, which I've recently just purchased, and we're going to mow. And as you can see, it does it in a very elegant way. The sides are flexible and they move, which means that it's very good for different sort of terrain. However, like I said, it would be nice if you could move each arm independently. So, like now, for example, I don't need it on. It would be cool if I could just lift one side up or lift the other side up to give me a bit more maneuverability when I'm going in tight areas, especially on a map like Calmston, which has a lot of walled sort of sections, which can get you stuck. The rear wheel drive is incredibly useful and does give you a hell of a lot of maneuverability that you wouldn't normally get from like a front wheel drive tractor, or from if you're using a tractor on the front and a tractor on the rear. My bad driving aside, it makes life a lot easier. If you're on a standard map and not one of these modded maps that are a bit more difficult with fields that are a different shape and stuff, you will have literally no issue at all. You'll be able to just whiz around and get the mowing done ASAP. It sounds good, it sounds meaty. I love the sound of the mowers anyway. And like I say, it looks really funky. It's got a really nice interior to it as well. Lots of different dashes, lots of different bits and pieces that you can look at, all the Krone logo and everything. And I said before in a previous video that realistically, this is the only Krone item that seems to make sense. Now, it is a lot more expensive than just buying other pieces of equipment, but it's so time saving and so much fun to use that I can sort of let it off for that, right? Now, this is about making the best sort of economical choice and getting the best bang for your buck, but this is a hidden gem because it's the only one in the game. If they had others, if they brought in a different brand of mower that essentially did the same stuff, just didn't have the Krone logo on it, then I would probably suggest that, because I could imagine that the game would, you know, it would be a lot cheaper. So this is very much a personal choice for me. Again, you're saving 100,000 plus for just buying the equipment and a fairly cheap medium tractor that can be able to pull both of the items that you're doing, and having mobile equipment can give you a bit more versatility to get jobs done a bit quicker, but you are going to be limited to speed. Whizzing around at 24 kilometers per hour, and then when you're not mowing, 40 kilometers per hour, it's fun. It looks neat, it looks tidy, and it is fun. It's very, very maneuverable, and it does deal with very uneven ground. So I will always recommend this. If you're getting into a farm like this one, which does a lot of animals, so you're going to be doing a lot of baling, it saves time in the setup, I would say. Unless you've got a tractor dedicated to that job, and you've got a tractor that's dedicated with just mowers on it, and it's always going to be using that, which when you're starting a farm, probably not. Because that tractor's, you know, if you buy like the case, you're going to be switching that tractor out, and it's just a lot of fuss to set everything up. Whereas you can just jump in this and get the mowing done, and then have another tractor to tether it, and then another one to bale it and stuff. I have got this down to a fine art now, where I can get most like fields that I'm baling on done in very little time. Whether I'm going around in circles like this, which is not how I normally farm, or, you know, going up and down and turning around and stuff. It's very easy to get done with this, and you are paying for that convenience. You are paying the extra money for that convenience, but it will see you good for the duration of your playthrough. Like, once you've got this, you will never need to upgrade, you will never need to change. It's just there, it's done. And again, I can't stress how much fun it is to use this thing. I really, really can't. I wish that I could say it's not worth it because it's so much more money, but it really, really is. Sometimes it's a hidden gem, not because of what it can do, but just how much fun you're going to have in the game with it. But let me know your thoughts. Would you rather get a tractor and some attachments and save that £100,000, or would you rather have the convenience of a machine that just does what it says on the tin with no fuss, no mess, and a lot of ease? Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Ciao, ciao.